Barbershop conversation, guys. Hit the subscribe button, and don't forget 9 Wives. Is click the link in the bio, in the description box. I appreciate you guys in advance. I appreciate the subscriber that sent it to me. DAZN pulls its troops out of America. Y'all fell in love with the Mackin. You know what I mean? Y'all, Eddie Hearn is the winner. He got hundreds of millions of dollars. But in a few years, he will be working for Top Rank and Bob Arum. Bob Arum got the deal at Sky Sports. So he's eating around him. Eddie Hearn is eating right now. He's going to be able to put on those fights and all that. But this subscription base didn't meet up the standards, and I can definitely anticipate some budget cuts, as it pertains to DAZN and what they're creating and the future of DAZN as it pertains to boxing. And the sad truth about this is, I told you guys this years ago. Nobody believed me. Fred, you're a hater. It's simple math, man. When you run a business, the goal can't be to stay in red. I equate this to, if you go to McDonald's and order a number one, and every time you order a number one, they give you half a Big Mac. That's what boxing has been doing lately. We don't get no fights. The fans are unsatisfactory. And when we do get a fight, guess what? They throw it on pay-per-view. In order to get 500,000 pay-per-views, you got to get 5 million people to watch on free TV. Simple. You want a 10% return, right? It's simple. It's simple math, man. And DAZN deserves exactly what they got. They grossly overpaid for fighters. And it worked in the beginning. It came off as sexy, and they thought they knew what they were doing, and it absolutely didn't work. And now we see what's going on with PBC. They started off as gangbusters, overpaying, and it was sexy. It was cool. But two things. You can't make a deal with the devil, man. You can't make a deal with the devil and not give the consumer what they want. I think PBC still has all the ingredients. Al Heyman is connected to the music industry. He could have been doing what Triller attempted to create. But you can't overpay and rob your consumer ultimately. Because people are going to say PBC putting on great fights, but people aren't paying. 1 million people didn't buy Tank Davis fight. 250,000, that don't pay salaries. 1 million people didn't buy the last pay-per-view. What I'm thinking. Earl Spence, Danny Garcia. 1 million people didn't buy it. So at the end of the day, I think PBC has a chance to save itself, but it's gonna have to be drastic pay cuts on their fighters' part. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to fight. They're gonna have to build their base up, and they gotta stay out of trouble. Those networks don't pay for troubled minorities, man. All right, y'all gotta stay out of trouble, keep your head clean, and promote yourself. I think PBC, I think they can do it. I think if Al don't continues to micromanage, I think they may eat themselves from the inside out. But that's why you don't see $1 million fighters on PBC fighting 3 times a year. They can't afford it. They simply can't afford it. And at this stage in my career, I personally don't care. I personally don't care about Al Heyman, Eddie Hearn. All of them can go to hell. You know what I mean? Because they robbed the fans. Just think if PBC had, and it's the fighter's fault too. If you're going to overpay for a fighter to fight a lesser opponent, then I'm going to fight the lesser opponent. Self-preservation is the first law of the land, right? But Charlo versus Hurd, when that fight was supposed to happen. Gary Russell versus Leo Santa Cruz. uh, Earl Spence versus Keith Thurman. These fights build your brand. Um, it just didn't happen, and I don't want PBC to fail. By no means do I want PBC to fail, but they're going to have to start listening to little Frederick that drive the Honda. Oh, man. You know what I mean? Shit. Y'all better start listening to me. I understand money. Y'all call me Frugal Fred. Now y'all like, man, I respect Frugal Fred now, right? It's all about the bottom line. I can't consistently pay my employees double what they're worth. I can give them bonuses. I can treat them with respect. I compensate that by treating them with respect, having a great deal of empathy, 100% sustaining my humanity and understand that they have lives. But it's impossible to consistently overpay your employees and rob your customers. Simple put. And I understand the emotional attachment, because I have a great deal of emotional attachment to many of these PBC fighters, but it's not by accident they're fighting once a year. They simply can't afford it. Devin Haney, now he's stuck in a crossfire. I'm going to do a video on that, because I told Gary Russell and Devin Haney on my show where it all started. I says, if y'all don't make this fight, Devin Haney, you will be Gary Russell soon. And I told y'all that. And y'all better start taking my advice. And it's sobering to know that it's coming to a head. And PBC don't really have any big fights in terms of their $1 million fighter versus another $1 million fighter, and it be on free TV. I think PBC should have stayed with that model, but they were running out of funds, so they had to go to pay-per-view model. But good riddance, as I talk about, good riddance to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, you tried, doggy. Eddie, say my name. Y'all fell in love with the Mackin, dog. Y'all fell in love with the accent. Hey, I'll never forget that day. When was that? It was in July, and I had been to court probably 14 times that year. When you own a lot of property and you got a lot of tenants, you go to court. Simple. Eddie Hearn said, oh, he put a private investigator on me. He says, oh, you've been to court 14 times. Of course. That's normal when you own property, man. You're dealing with hundreds of different personalities. That's par for course, man. That's never gonna change, But I am a fair and I am a fair business owner, and I treat my tenants with a great deal of respect. And many of my tenants subscribe to my YouTube channel. So it's but the fact that he tried to disgrace me by saying, oh, and it wasn't even in the same year. It was 14 probably total or something within the last 2 years. But the point I'm making is he respected my intellect so much. He tried to figure out, one, why does he know so much? And two, I got to discredit this man publicly. I go to court once a month, y'all. Once a month, once every other month. That's the reality of when you're dealing with evictions, People want to stay longer, and I respect that, I respect their side of the fence, and I respect my side of the fence, so I do my part. And at the end of the day, Eddie! Say my name, Eddie! I love it, man. I love it. Because I knew I would be right. And I told all y'all PBC fighters to go get that money. Go do them one fight deals. Go back and check the archives. In 2018, whenever that year was, I said, go get the money. Go get the money. Go fight over there one time. Why not? They're giving it away. And now you're stuck fighting once every 10, 11 months for $2.2 million. All right, I am taking fighters in for advisory meetings. Holla at me. It's not free. All right, shit. I mean, y'all gonna pay them all that money. You might as well give me some. And I'm going to give you sound and solid advice. I haven't lost no money since I started covering boxing. I think my net worth is probably quadrupled. Andy! Say my name, Andy! But at the end of the day, here's the plan. PBC fighters. It's getting hot in this son of a bitch. PBC fighters, here's what you got to do. You're going to have to take a pay cut. Because PBC is the only show in town now. Al Heyman, you need to have a business. You need to have a forum, a Zoom meeting, or you need to fly everybody in to LA, Las Vegas, the cheapest city, and you need to have a real meeting with the fighters. Say, listen, here's how we save PBC. And it can happen. And two, Al Heyman, you have no protection in the media. You better start respecting black media. You better tell your personnel to start respecting black media. I lost a lot of respect for Al Heyman when I found out he didn't respect black media. And if you don't want to listen to me, go ask Blue Blood. He's talked about it few times. Go ask 78 and every other black media outlet that covers fights. The lack of respect that we received, and we've complained about, and he's known about it for years and didn't do anything about it. That's just the reality of it. So I lost a lot of respect for him as a black man as it pertains to not respecting black media. It's not me, because I never did media from a selfish perspective. I bit the bullet. I was the spook by the door for many years for a lot of black media outlets, and I did my part for as long as I could. Now, you can rebuild this, Al, but it's gonna take infrastructure. It's gonna take a plan. And two, you got to get off Fox. I believe you got to get off Fox. I think Fox is gonna eat you up from the inside out, and Al knows that. He done made money with them people before. They gonna squeeze you. And the reason why I know that, because I done sat down with him. The reason why Fred can make a movie like 9 Wives and just put it out when he wants to, y'all so consumed with how much something makes and how much someone's worth. No, it's about just being you, fulfilling your purpose, doing what you ultimately want to do in life. You only get one time. We're chasing that $1 million check. Chase those million. Put those million inspirations to use, man. You know, and I hope that you get it. Yeah, I could have did the deal with the people and made more money off the film. It's the message, man. Lincoln and Kennedy gonna be eating off that. Whether it's $100 a year or $10,000 a year they make off of it, I don't know. But what I do know, if you look at the credits, you know what they say? Lincoln and Kennedy Hawthorne, producers. And that's the ultimate goal. Fred owns everything he does. And you got to put yourself in position where you can make perpetuity moves, you know. And in the beginning, it was sexy. Al had $600 million. It was beautiful. But I say this to PBC. Listen to me carefully. Fred ultimately wants you to win. At the end of the day, I love the fighters more than I love Al Heyman. I love the fighters more than I love anything else. I want the fighters to keep on getting paid. But y'all got to squeeze down, cut off all the fat, and come up with a business plan where you can be successful. All right? And that's just the truth. So if you want to run your business like Eddie Hearn, it's pretty much the same business model. You know, at the end of the day, the fans are paying for Mario Barrios, Tank Davis, when it should have been Tank Davis versus Devin Haney, when it should have been Tank Davis versus Gary Russell, when it should have been Tank Davis versus Teofimo Lopez. But we're going to say, oh, he took a risk by fighting at 140, which he did, and I respect Tank for that. But if you want to build a brand, you want to build a legacy, you got to put the Big Mac up against the Quarter Pounder. All right? You got to put it all on the menu. All right? And that's just where we're at with this. So anyways, man, PBC, squeeze down, add a little bit of Triller, respect black media, because that's the only media that's going to protect you. PBC and Al Heyman, that's it. ESPN, Fox, they not going to protect you. They're going to squeeze you down until they can buy you. And guess what? It may happen or it may not happen. But at the end of the day, You got to cut costs. You got to cut costs, and you gotta and it got to be a team effort at this point. So everybody, because Errol Spence needs to fight 3 times a year. Deontay Wilder needs to fight 3 times a year. It's nothing you can do about it. All these little fights that you got, that's cool. People are getting paid, but those aren't brand building fights. Tank Davis needs to fight 3 times a year. You know, I'm not sure how popular the Charlo brothers are, but they need to fight 3 times a year. And that's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? You know why the WWE is so popular? Monday Night Raw. Every Monday. The best fighting the best. You know why MMA is UFC is so popular? The best fight the best. And there's nothing they can do about it. And they fighting for pennies on a dollar. And they still sustain themselves. Anyways, man. Truth is out. Eddie! Hey, ain't nothing like when you're right, man. When you but I will admit, Eddie Hearn is the biggest winner, dog. What, 100? He gonna make $150 million. Hey, Eddie, well played. What they say over there in UK, well played. Fair play, well play, something like that. You did it, Eddie. But in 5 years, you're gonna be working for Top Rank. And that's a fact. It's nothing you can do. DAZN will be out of boxing. Sky Sports will be run by Top Rank. And I hope, Bob Arum, that you can make it. The reason why I hope, because I want to hear Bob Arum call Eddie his employee. I got to see that shit. I got to see it. And you know, me and Bob got a cool relationship anyway. And I'll say this in closing. I don't have the same relationship with Bob Arum his fighters have and his promoters have. I don't accept disrespect in my life. If you disrespect me, I don't want you in my life. I don't care how much money you have, how much money you worth. Bob Arum has never disrespected me. And when we've disagreed, when he cursed me out, you know what I did? I cursed right back at him. So when Bob Arum in 2021 would never talk to me like he talked to Terrence Crawford about that Beverly Hills. I would have cursed Bob ass out so bad. And Bob knows that. We done been through there already. He ain't gonna treat me like that. So we have a different relationship. So Eddie Hearn is gonna be, because you know Eddie Hearn is gonna have, he's gonna have all those fighters under his wing, but no network in a few years, and all this gonna come to a head. Remember this day, August 16th, whatever this day is. I don't know what today is, but just remember this day and remember Frederick Hawthorne that drives this dirty Honda. Told you so. Barbershop Conversations. I holla. Peace.